Welcome to Tuskegee View in historic Tuskegee, Alabama. We are here in City Hall where the Honorable Johnny Ford is mayor. I'm joined by Ms. Diane Robinson, director of the Tuskegee Repertory Theater, and Mr. Gabriel Smith, Tuskegee University student, here today to talk about the lawsuit that's pending in the Middle District of Alabama regarding the closing of Victoryland, an industry here in Macon County, Alabama, as it relates to electronic bingo and the relationship of that particular action by the governor of the state of Alabama and the attorney general to the overall lawsuit that has been filed in Shelby County, Alabama, Eric Holder versus Shelby County. I have with me Ms. Diane Robinson and Tuskegee University student, Mr. Gabriel Smith.
Well, we are so anxious to let the people of the whole world know that voting rights are still being violated here in Alabama in 2013, because as Ms. Howard said, we are involved in a lawsuit because of the closing of our gaming industry, Victoryland. But the real focus is not because of gambling. Our issue is not gambling. Our issue is our voting right.
Yes.
Victoryland, our gaming industry in our town, was created because we needed revenue for our community, our county. And this was back in the early 80s. And we voted, citizens of Macon County, for a state constitutional amendment that would allow gaming in Alabama, because Alabama does not allow gaming. And we voted. Over 79% was passed in the legislature. And Victoryland was then opened. First it was Greyhound racing. And then, because the Greyhound racing declined because of the competition with casinos in other places in Mississippi and the Indian casinos too, Mayor Ford, who was a state representative at that time, introduced what we call the bingo bill, a bill to make possible electronic bingo in Macon County. And we voted on that, and that was passed. And that's how we got electronic bingo. And so our contention when suddenly the state administration decided that 10 years after all of it was existing, actually it was 7 years, that it was illegal suddenly and closed it, we said this violated our voting rights because we had voted for it, and they did not have pre-clearance according to the Voting Rights Act to come in and close our gaming facility. So we went into federal court.
And that's where we are at this point.
Yes.
With the litigation, and at the same time that the Supreme Court will make its ruling in the case of Section 5 and the Voting Rights Act. Gabriel, you may not have been born in 1965 when all of us were fighting for the right to vote. And as a matter of fact,
were you born in 80?
No, 90.
See?
90.
But we're glad to have you with us today as we talk about the urgency and the importance of the vote. What would you have to say?
As far as voting goes, I mean, if you look at the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, voting is really one of our. It's one of the. It should be one of the unalienable rights that we are all entitled to as American citizens. Voting should not be determined. Well, a person's right to vote should not be determined based on, their melanin count or the texture of their hair or what neighborhood they're from. It should be a right. And it is a right that is guaranteed to all Americans. Everyone that calls this place home. Suffrage is, I think that's one of the true marks of freedom. Like if you're able to vote, you're an active participant in your government. You have a direct say so in what happens in your country, and with the decisions that are made. You have an influence on the decisions. You're an active participant.
And once you vote, you expect that vote to count and to stand.
For something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as Mrs. Robinson has indicated, a constitutional amendment was passed during the 80s for the citizens of Macon County to have electronic bingo in our county as a means of improving our economic development. And so when Governor, it was Attorney General Troy King at the time, and Governor Bob Riley, who initially closed our casino and violated our voting rights in that process, then this is why we have decided, and I'm representing the citizens of Macon County. I'm going to be the voice for them. As you know, I serve as president of the NAACP as well in Macon County. But we have filed, there are plaintiffs, and Mayor Ford is our lead plaintiff, but the superintendent of schools is one of the plaintiffs because our children, our school system was receiving millions of dollars from the business there in Shirley, Alabama. We have the charities, and Ms. Diane Robinson is representing the charities. There are over 60 charities, am I correct?
Charities. And see, what is so wrong about this is it's a kind of economic lynching,
Yes.
literally, because to deny us our voting rights is bad enough, but it cuts off the whole purpose of our establishing the gaming industry was to better our economy.
Yes.
And our county and this whole black belt area of Alabama is literally starving for industry and economic and means of economic prosperity. And the gaming was our effort, the industry that we created. We created, and we need that. Our schools are losing millions of dollars. Our governmental bodies
Yes.
are losing millions
Both
of dollars.
Tuskegee, the city, and the county.
The city and the county, and we have Notasulga, we have Shorter, the cities of Notasulga and Franklin in our county, all of these, we're all suffering from this. We all have no industry here. And this is something that we can't tolerate.
And you know, when we say, I always like to remind us that Tuskegee University is one of the larger employers, you know, in our county, and the Veterans Administration Hospital, and of course, city and county government. But when it comes to manufacturing industry, we have limited numbers in our county.
Well, our community has always been an educational community,
Yes.
especially Tuskegee. I remember when I was growing up, we used to joke with each other and say, you have to get an education in Tuskegee because we don't have factories.
Yes.
And we were very proud of that
Yes.
because we had doctors, lawyers, professional people in all areas.
Educators.
And that's how Tuskegee thrived. We have the third largest VA hospital in the country. I mean, a huge campus, which has been down. We've been dealing with federal courts to get our rights since the beginning of our existence, Brown versus the Board of Education. We eventually went to the court to resolve to end the whole epic of the syphilis study thing. Mayor Ford had to go to the federal courts to get elected the first time because our county government at that time closed the courthouse doors so that the students at Tuskegee Institute at that time could not register to vote, and it was their vote that led to him being elected. But the point is that our community is a proud, prestigious community that has always fought for its rights. We went through a period there in the 70s and where we were recovering from the 60s, from all the protests that had been done in the 60s, and we were thriving based on that. But we have suffered since then. It's always been a struggle for us, and we'd like for our young people to understand that it's a fight that they must continue.
Yes.
That it's a fight that they must continue, and we here in this area are capable of being once again as proud and prosperous as we ever were. We don't intend to let this struggle with Victory Land defeat us.
Not at all.
And we have joined together with other state and national leaders to fight for our voting rights. It's the National Coalition of Leaders to Save Section 5.
Yeah.
And we in Tuskegee are the prime example that we can offer of why Section 5 is important.
Yes.
Because if we don't have that, that's the thing that is going to allow us to get victory land back, which we will do.
For sure. And Section 5 allows us the vehicle as any county or city or government planning to make any changes to the voting rights law or the voting pattern in a particular locale. They must get it pre-cleared through the Justice Department, the United States Justice Department, which brings us back to what took place here in Macon County. No pre-clearance was done. They have just strictly violated and unlawfully done so our voting rights in that case.
Well, the specific thing about Section 5 is the sheriff, when the law was set up for Victory Land, the sheriff was the official who's in charge of the laws of regulating the casinos and the gambling industry. And our sheriff said that our machines are illegal and everything was in order in Victory Land. The state government says, but has not proven, that they are illegal and have overstepped the authority of the sheriff. That is the violation of Section 5.
Okay.
That's what the lawsuit is based on. The fact that they have overridden the authority of the sheriff, who was duly appointed the official in charge
here in
Macon County in the state in the amendment.
Okay.
That's the specific thing. And of course, we have other reasons to believe that they have closed our Victory Land. We believe that there was money given to the Republican Party by the Indians, because the Republicans, as you know, have taken over the state government, and that's been their effort. First of all, Victory Land's owner, Mr. Milton McGregor, was one of the primary donors to the Democratic Party.
Yes.
And that money was funneled through the Republican Party. We have reason to believe, and it's part of our lawsuit, for the elections of Governor Riley and Luther Strange. And so their agreement was to close Victory Land. But our fight with them is about our voting rights. We will not have our voting rights stepped on like that. We haven't done it in the past, and we don't intend to do it in the future.
For sure. Which brings us to Friday, June 14th.
Exactly.
When we will all join together, and we are inviting everyone of goodwill, those who want to help us in this fight for justice and fairness in Macon County and to save Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, to join us on the pilgrimage that will start at 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama at 9 a.m. on Friday, June 14th. And we will go from there to the Shelby County Courthouse and meet there at 10:30. And with all of the civil rights leaders and Minister Farrakhan leading the way and crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge with us at 12 noon. After that, the stop in Selma, Alabama, we will then go, as we did in 1965, from Selma to Montgomery to the state capitol, where we will address and send our message to Governor Bentley of the state of Alabama and to Attorney General Luther Strange that we won't go back. We are going to fight this battle, not just in Alabama, but the Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act cannot be rescinded.
That's right. And you don't mind if I make a commercial? We've done Tuskegee Rising, a play, which talks about this. How Tuskegee rises forever like the mythical phoenix.
Oh, yes.
And that's very real. And I think our people need to feel that. It's a morale booster, because we have to understand what we've been through in the past and what we can do in the future. Our young people who have not experienced the struggles that we've gone through may not understand that, and the play is designed to show where we have come and that we intend to keep moving forward.
And when will be the next showing? Because I've seen that excellent production.
It's going to be the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of June, and then the next weekend, 28th, 29th, and 30th, at the Jesse Clinton Arts Center, which is Tuskegee Repertory Theater, the city of Tuskegee's official theater company.
Yes.
And we're very proud of that. We're very proud of it.
Okay, right. If you haven't seen it, I hope you will be able to be the guest of Mrs. Robinson for one of the showings. Again, they died for it. Yes, let's unite and fight for it. On Friday, June 14th, please join us at one of the stops to save the right to vote and our civil rights. Again, I'm Barbara Howard along with Diane Robinson and Gabriel Smith. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.